everybody. Let's fix this. I don't know why. YouTube has to be difficult. Just bear with me 1 second. Just want to make sure everything looks good. And I got my laptop right off to the side here. I like to watch as I'm going so that way I can make sure I'm still on the screen and that everything is straight. So bear with me while I do that. There was one little setting on my phone to kind of like enhance the video. So we're going to see if that helps any with some of the pixelating and blurriness that sometimes happens. And it usually happens further along in the video. So now we look straight and we look good. So that's awesome. So hello everybody, this is Carla. Welcome back to the studio and thank you for joining me for another episode of Throwback Thursday. So for this Thursday, I am combining two stamp sets. There were two there was the original stamp set, the varied vases set, and then it coordinated along with the Vases builder punch. And then after this had come out, I believe it had carried over into the next annual catalog, or was it in a mini catalog and then ended up in I can't remember. Honestly, it's been a while. But what they did is they came out with another stamp set called Vibrant Vases about a year after this one came out that also coordinates with the punch. So I decided to kind of take both of these sets and make a card each because my Throwback Thursdays, I create two projects. So I figured I would tie the two of these together and create a card each from each of the stamp sets along with using the punch. So the first card that I'm going to be making, I'm going to use this one here, the varied. Now this stamp set, it is a $1,000,000 Achiever stamp set, and this one I believe was Mary Fish that had worked with the Stampin' Up designers to create her $1,000,000 Achiever stamp set. So let me bring up my info here. So as I go along, I look at what the dimensions of the cardstock is and the paper, so that, whatever it is that we use on it. So I got that. So let me set this aside. And there, like I do, like what I can't talk, guys. I apologize. This has been like a very busy week in video recording. I am going on a trip, so I'm trying to get all of my videos pre-recorded and done early so I can schedule them, and then we're not skipping a beat on the video content. I do pre-records on Thursdays. That's my Throwback Thursdays. I bring out retired product and I create two projects with it. And then I typically go live on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. However, while I'm out of town, they are going to be pre-recorded. So I'm doing a whole lot of pre-recording through the end of the month of March. So basically taking the second half of March and getting it all done on the first half of it. So I'm getting there. I'm just about done. So of course, you're going to watch this, and I've done it early. It's pre-recorded. So what do I want to do here? Yeah, let me bring in the pieces for my first card. Let's see. Let me get this off so I can see. Let me bring in all of my pieces and let you know what I got here. So for my card base, this is Lemon Lime Twist. It measures 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. And then I have another piece of lemon lime twist. This measures 5 1/4 by 4. And I had embossed that using the striped scallops textured impressions embossing folder. So this was back at a time when Sizzix was actually making Stampin' Up's embossing folders and the dies, but it's the striped scallops. And let's see, so I did that ahead of time. I have a piece of powder pink. Now, powder pink and lemon lime twist, they were both part of the same in color offering in the same 2 years. So this color we're using for this measures 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. I have a piece of basic white. This measures 3 1/2 by 2 1/2. And then I have some scraps of basic white that we will stamp on and use our punch to punch them out. So I am going to start, and I'm going to fold and burnish my card base. Okay, and then I'm going to take my liquid glue. I'm going to add my embossed piece. I'm going to center that right on my card base. And this card is a card that was a sample in the catalog when this first came out. Now, when they did it, as far as ink colors went, what they used on the flower is different than what I'm going to use. I thought that the color I chose, I felt that it would look a little bit better. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong. But the whole idea of these catalogs, other than, finding the products, to order and all that, it's also an idea book. So you can always change it up to what you want. You got the basic design. So, all right. So we have this right here. I am going to take my, this is powder pink. I'm going to add some glue to the back of this, and then I'm going to put this, I'm going to center this on my card base. Put that there. And let's see. Put that right up here like so. Just make sure we're straight. Bring it down just a little bit. And of course, if you can look at these little scallops too to help you line it all up as well. All right. So we'll set that aside. And then this piece we are going to we're going to stamp on this, but we're going to do that after we get all our other little bits kind of stamped and punched out. All right, so being that this is a photopolymer stamp set, I am going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat for this. So let's see, what do I want? I want the stem. And then we got the outline of the tulip. And there's an outline to the leaf. And we want the word hello. Let's see, I think that's all we need off of this sheet. There are actually 2 sheets of stamps in this particular set. So that's one of them. And then here's the other. So we want, let's see, we want this detailed vase. We want the filler part for the, what do you call it, for the tulip. I want the filler here for the leaf. And I think that is all that we need. So, oh, yeah, I also need the outline of this base as well. All right, so let me get some blocks here, and these all set up. Okay, got a few more blocks here. I could have done this before I started, but you know, you never think of these things, you know, before you go and hit live. Let's see, we don't have another tiny block. Let me take this, I'll put this on one of these larger blocks. And that way I have another smaller block for that little flower. Okay. So on these little pieces, and let's get the piercing mat. And I want to bring this down just a tiny bit, so I apologize for my arm being in it. Just bring it a little bit closer. All right. So then on, let's see, what do I want here? Yeah, I'm kind of a little confused on what I'm doing here. I apologize. So for our ink, we're going to use Lemon Lime Twist, Bermuda Bay, and Polished Pink. Now in the card sample, they had used Poppy Parade, which is like it's a red, but it's kind of got some orange tones in it. And I thought, looking at the sample in the catalog, it actually looked more pink. And now Polished Pink was not a color that was available at the time, but this is what's nice by, you know, keeping your retired colors and all that, you can use it for things like this. So let me get, let's see, what do I want? I want my outline, my tulip outline. And I'm going to stamp this full strength. And one of the things I want to do is I want to look at where the punch, the direction that the flower's going, so that way I can stamp this in the same direction. Okay, and then let's get the filler one. And then I want a piece of scrap paper because we're going to stamp off. So let me get that. Bring this in. Okay, and then I'm going to ink this up, stamp it off, and then I'm going to line it up and stamp it right in that outlined area. I would bring it down, well, let me see. If it starts getting, you know, where the phone is kind of trying, wow. You know, like focusing in and out, then I got to move it up just a little bit. And you can see that it fills it in really, really pretty. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside and we'll punch that out all at the same time. Then I want to get, let's see, I want this piece now. I'm going to do this face right here. So I'm going to stamp this upside down so that way I can punch it out in the right direction. So what I am going to use, I'm going to use this decorative piece. Actually, no, we'll leave that open because I want to stamp my greeting in that color. I got Bermuda Bay, and we're going to stamp this upside down. Ink this up. I think my Bermuda Bay ink pad may need some ink. I haven't used it in a while. This is one of those colors. I was kind of sad that they retired it because my favorite color is purple. But then when it comes to aquas and blues, they're all a close second. All right, come on. I want to make sure this is inked evenly. And then I'm going to stamp this right here. Okay, we'll set that aside. And then we're going to do our leaves and then our stem. All right, so that's Bermuda Bay. Let's see, we want lemon lime twist. All right, and then I have this piece right here. So we're going to do one leaf. So I want my outline. This is the outline, right? And we'll ink this up. And we'll stamp that right there. And then we want our leaf. This is the filler one. So we're going to ink this up. And then I'll stamp this off. And then just line this up. And fill that in like so. So really nice and subtle. All right, so let me move these blocks out of the way. Okay, and we can take the paper out of our way. And let's see, what do I want to do? The outline. So to know where I'm going to place things on this piece right here, I'm going to take this outline and I'm going to bring in and open back up my Bermuda Bay. And we'll ink this up. Now this is basically a placeholder, so I know where to put it. And let's see, I want to make sure this is straight. And I'm going to place this right here, like so. And then I'm going to take this long stem, and I want one to go out over on this side here. So I'm not worried. You can see that it's going to that's going to be covered up. But even if it wasn't, it's fine, because you know, usually in your clear vases that you're going to still see those stems. And then this one I'm going to put down when I turned the stamp over, so that way my stem was then going in the other direction. Okay, and then I'm going to, what am I going to do? What's my next thing? I'm going to take the hello. I'm going to ink that up in the polished pink. And that's going to get stamped right over to the right of my vase. Okay, I just think that that brighter pink with the lemon lime twist and the Bermuda Bay, that those colors go together very, very well. All right, so we're done with our stamping on this card. So let me close these all up. Okay, we'll get those out of the way. And let me move those stamp blocks. I don't want to get ink all over the place. All right, so now let me bring in my punch and let's punch out all of our pieces. So again, our vase, we stamped it upside down because in our punch it's upside down. Okay, so we got our vase. And then let's get our flower and line that up right in there. Okay, there's one. Then of course my piece isn't long enough, so a little trick. When your cardstock is not long enough, so you have something to hold on to it, get a sticky note. And I'm going to stick that right on there, and this kind of becomes our handle. So then that way you can line it up. and you can punch. Okay, so there's our other flower. And then for our leaf, that's off to the side here, so we should be okay as far as having enough to hold on to. And line that up. We punch that. And then there is our leaf. So now let's go ahead and assemble our cards. So one of the other things that I want to, did I get ink on there? So I got a little tiny bit of green right on the edge there. So we're gonna layer some stuff on here. So this is the Whisper White Polka Dot Tulle Ribbon. And I want to create a pretty large looped bow that's going to lay across this powder pink piece. So I want to see this from either side. Trying to get that loop, my finger in that loop. So this is going to lay down right across here, but I don't want it going off the edge of my card. Okay, so that looks good enough, and then we'll trim down the tails on here. Okay, we'll get that out of the way. All right, so then I'm going to take this here and I'm going to add some of my seal right here in the middle. And then I'm going to lay this down right across, try to get it in the middle. So a little bit of a decorative element, you know, behind our piece here. Then I'm going to take some dimensionals. Add some on the back here. And I will put 2 right there. All right, now let's move that, and we're going to take this and we're going to center this right over our powder pink piece, like so. And then we're going to just build up the rest of our card front. So I want a dimensional on the back of my vase, and I'm going to bring in my mini ones as well. And there's the sticky end. That's the sticky end. And place that right there. I don't think you can see that on the front side. No, that looks good. All right, then I'm going to take this leaf part. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the back. Don't need a lot, I just need a little bit, but it's not coming out. Okay. Let's do this where I don't put my finger in the glue. So this outline of this vase, this is my placeholder. This is showing me where I'm going to put my punched vase. So I'm going to take this leaf and I'm going to glue it down like so. Hold that for a second. And we can kind of pop that up a little bit. Okay, and then I'll take my vase and we'll place that right over the top of that, like so. And then let's get our little dimensionals and our little flowers here. And for this, I'm going to use my take your pick tool for this. I find that it's easier to use this when I'm using these little dimensionals. And these just fit on the back. And of course that's sticking to my finger. And put one there. Let's get those out of the way. And then let's get our backings off. And I'm going to come down on this stem just a little bit. And I do the same thing over on this side, like so. I mean, that's just really, really stinking cute if you ask me. Okay, now the embellishments. These are the glitter enamel dots. So we have Coastal Cabana, Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple Green, and Melon Mambo in here. I am going to use the Coastal Cabana. Now, Coastal Cabana isn't in this, but it's the closest to the Bermuda Bay. We got a lot of the green, we got a lot of the pink going on. So I'm going to use these. So for this one, I'm going to use the 3 larger ones. There's also a much smaller one. So I'm going to take my larger one, place it there, and my medium. Thought I picked it up. I'll put that right there, and then our 3rd smallest one, we'll put that one right there. So there is the first card. So really cheery and happy and bright, and I really do like the choice of using the polished pink rather than the Poppy Parade like they used in the sample. So there is our first card. So let me get tidied up here just a little tiny bit so I can pull out the stuff for our next card. Move that out of the way, and of course I'm going to have to clean some of these blocks because I'm going to need these stamps. So let me bring my what is this thing called? My Stampin' Scrub. When you record and you turn that camera on, you start to like forget the names of stuff, and that happens quite a bit. And I will apologize in advance. As I'm cleaning this, I'm shaking the camera. The camera's on a stand that is attached to this table. And I got to figure out some way on how I can attach this thing onto something where it's not going to shake whenever I'm doing stuff. Okay, all these little blocks here. Got one more after this. And one more. Okay, so now, let's see. Let me get this stamp set. Let me get some of these stamps off of here because the stamps that we're going to use are going to be from the other stamp set. Let me just get these all off. And I'll clean that up in a little bit. But let me clean this block. I still see that I got Bermuda Bay ink on this. Okay. Now let's get the punch out of the way. And we'll get these little scraps out of here. That's the one thing, this space will get messy and filled up very, very quickly. So let me get these kind of like out of the way. Let's see. And then I'll pull out whatever it is that I need. All right, let me close this glue. And let me bring in the stuff for our next card. So we had really bright colors, and now we're going to use some more subtle toned down pastel colors for our next project. So this one I am using the Vibrant Vases. So I want, out of this stamp set, I want this small one again. So this one's got a little decorative design on it. I want the You Are Loved Always, and then I want this grouping of flowers. So there's an outline, and then there's a filler piece as well. This one has the tulips in it as well, and the leaves and the stem. So this has, this actually has the leaf that fills in that flower area. So we're going to use that. All right, because the first one, the sample that I did, I actually brought in the Stampin' blend in the color that I was using, and I'm thinking let's go with and use that stamp. Okay, so let me get these things on some blocks. And get these. Get that. Okay, so let's set those aside. All right, so for my pieces, this is Seaside Spray. This is another color that I really like. It's more like this lightish periwinkle color. Really love this color. This was an in color. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of soft sea foam cardstock. This measures 5 1/4 by 4, and ahead of time I have embossed it using the Brick and Mortar 3D embossing folder. And then I have a piece of basic white. This measures 4 1/4 by 2 3/4, and I have a little pencil dot right here. We're going to actually cut this into a banner. And then I have some scrap pieces here. I have some soft sea foam. We're going to stamp our vase and punch that out on this piece. I have a piece of white. I have die cut it using one of the rectangle stitch dies. So this square right here, or rectangle actually. And then with my 2 1/4 inch circle punch, I have punched out of a scrap of purple Posy cardstock. This was the one in color that we had where the cardstock was fine. The markers were fine, but for some reason when it came to the ink pad and the reinker, they just couldn't get it right. So this color in the ink, it actually retired earlier than it should have, but they kept the regular Stampin' Right marker, the Stampin' blends, and the cardstock and whatever embellishments or paper that had that color. Then out of basic white, this was punched using the 2 inch circle punch. All right, so I want to bring this punch in, and again, this little vase that we're using, we're going to stamp this upside down. So let me bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat, and I want my soft seafoam ink. And let's get that detailed vase and ink this up. And I will stamp this right towards the bottom here, upside down, like so. And we'll punch this out. This is actually the only thing from this punch that I'm punching out. The flowers are going to be stamped directly on the cardstock, so. All right. Let me get that out of the way, and we'll put that away. Let's leave this because we got a stamp, don't we? All right, so on my basic white circle, I am going to stamp the outline of these flowers in Highland Heather ink, and I'm going to do that full strength. And I will stamp that right there. Okay, and then the filler piece, let me get my paper back in here. I'm going to ink this up in the Highland Heather. Stamp that off. And then this will line up right over those flowers. Like so. So there are going to be some white spaces within that flower. So there's nothing wrong with the stamp set. All right, we're going to still use that color in a moment. I'm going to take now this is the piece that has the leaves that are going to fit right into these spaces right here. So I'm going to ink that up in my soft seafoam. Let me see how dark it's going to be. Okay, I'm going to leave it dark. I'm not going to stamp off because then these are going to be really, really, really light. All right, so these are going to line up. Ooh, where are the leaves? Right there. So it's very, very subtle on that green. Okay, we'll put that aside. And let's see, we're done with soft seafoam. So we can close that up. And then on my greeting piece, so that was, where's that piece? Right there that we die cut out of the rectangle stitched. I'm going to stamp that full strength in my Highland Heather. Make sure that's really inked up well. And I'll stamp that right in the center. Like so. Put that aside. All right, so what's next? What's next? All right, so we can kind of take our card and somewhat assemble it. So let me fold and burnish my card base. And get this. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my liquid glue. We're going to glue down our seafoam piece, soft seafoam piece. All right, and then we'll center this like so. All right. Then I'm going to take, let's see, what do we want next? I'm going to take this vase here. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the back of this. And we'll put this right under our flowers, like so. I want to make sure that's kind of straight. Okay. And then we're going to glue this whole piece onto our purple posy. Center that like so. All right, and then we're going to put dimensionals on the back of this. Okay, we'll set that aside. And then on this piece right here, so on our banner, let me close this up. So we don't have, we have banner punches, but they are not as wide as what this cardstock is. So I'm going to bring in my snips. Now, what I did was this piece right here, it's 2 3/4 inch wide. So I had measured it. I looked at the center, and it is, ooh, what's, you know, I should have wrote this down. You would think I would write this down, right? So this is why, you know, we got a laptop sitting right here with a calculator on it, guys. I mean, because, you know, really, I should know this, but like I said, it's been a long day, so so it is 1 and is it 3/8, I think it is. Whatever the middle. Yeah, it's 1 3/8. I don't have my regular ruler right here. So I had, this is funny, right? So I have come up like a 1/2 inch, and I made a little dot with my pencil, and I'm going to bring in my snips. I'm going to cut straight up to that dot, and then from corner to that dot I'm going to trim, and I'm going to try and do this in just one cut, which my blade isn't really long enough to do that. And then I'll do the same thing on this end. So now we got our banner piece. Okay, so now we're going to stamp on this piece here. All right, so I'm going to bring in my scrap paper. I'm also going to bring in my pierce mat, and we are going to work with, I'm going to set that aside. We're going to work with the outline of the flowers. So let me clean that really quick. All right, and then I'm going to bring in my Seaside spray ink. This too was an in color. And I am going to stamp on the bottom and on the top. So I'm going to have it in this direction. I'm going to ink this up. And I'm going to start by stamping it kind of like in the middle here. Like so. And then I'm going to come over here. I want to try and fill in as much as I can with that. Now I can come in right there and just come in a little bit with the top of that flower just to fill it in. And then we'll do the same thing over here. And then I'll come in and I'll fill in. Okay. Then I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to do the same thing up on the top here. I'm going to stamp right in the middle. And then I'm going to stamp on either side. Wow, that did not stamp well at all. We are going to do that over again. So we're going to flip it over. My ink pad, it's weird because there's some spots where the ink is a little bit more concentrated than in some of the other spots. Fill that in down there. And we'll come over here, stamp that, and then fill in. A tiny bit right there. Okay, and then we're going to flip this over. And we'll do the same thing over here. Okay. And you can tell that there's just some spots on this ink pad where there's more ink than there is in other places. Okay, so we kind of filled that in. Now we're going to do the same thing and use Highland Heather ink. And that's going to be stamped off since it's kind of a darker color. So let me clean that stamp really quick. Now I would have used, again, for this I would have used purple Posy ink, but again, the ink, they kind of came out with the ink like 2 separate times, figuring that they had gotten the formulation right. But what was happening when you would stamp with it, you know, when you first stamp and the ink is wet, it looks darker, but then as it dries, it lightens up. Well, the purple Posy was actually drying so light that at some point you weren't able to even see it. So, so they just did away with it. So with this, because Highland Heather is pretty dark, I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to add a layer right over the top of this soft sea spray. No, Seaside spray. Put that over there, and then we'll flip it around. And we'll do the same thing over on this side. Okay, so there we go. Let's close this up. We're done with our stamping, so now let's go ahead and assemble our card. So let's bring in all of these pieces. Now for a little bit of embellishment, I'm going to bring in, this is Purple Posy, and this is the scalloped linen ribbon. And I want a piece. Now they had this in all of the in colors. Actually, Pretty Peacock was one of these in colors. And then I think Terracotta Tile, Rococo Rose, And what was the other color that was in this? Actually, I got my bag right here. Yeah, so you had Pretty Peacock and the Purple Posy, Terracotta Tile, Rococo Rose, and Seaside Spray was the other in color. So yeah, I kind of stocked up on these because these are really pretty ribbons. It's got that really nice little detailed scallop on either side, and then you got that linen in between. So I want a piece that's gonna wrap around this. Don't need it very long, so let's cut it right here. And we'll put this aside. And then I want my glue dots. Actually, we can probably do this instead. Let's do this instead. We'll take our seal and I'll run that right on the back here. Of course, I did not want to get it on my paper. Things like that should put silicone craft sheet on the back of it. All right, I want to take this, I want to put this right across here like so. Okay, and then we'll wrap it behind. Okay, so we got that on there. Move it up just a little bit so it's straight. Okay, then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to use my liquid glue. Add some to the back. And we're going to line this top edge to the top of this soft sea foam. And we're going to have it more over to the left. Let's make sure that that's lined up straight. Okay, then we'll press that down. Okay, and then our vase of our flowers, let's take the backings off of our dimensionals. And then we'll take this and we'll center this. Make sure that's straight. Come on. And we'll place this right here. And then let me get that adhesive off of there. Whatever I do is going to stick into that. All right, and then I'm going to take my greeting piece, and this is going to go in this corner right here. Okay, and then this will go right here. We'll stick that down like so. And that's that on this one. Now, if you wanted, you could add some Wink Stella if you'd like on the flowers, but I'm going to leave it as is. So there is the second card. So let me, more of, you know, your pastel type colors. And then of course our first card. So the first card, we used the Varied Vases stamp set along with the Vases Builder Punch. And then our second card, we used the Vibrant Vases stamp set along with that, that Vases punch as well. So there are our two cards. So if you like the projects that I made today, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It does help me in not only growing this channel, but it also helps me in building my Stampin' Up! Business. Also in the description, there is a link if you would like to receive my monthly newsletter. I typically send it out the first Tuesday of the month. That's the day that Stampin' Up! Lets us know what the new kits are. Every month they come out with at least 2 new kits in their kits collection. So I like to include pictures and descriptions and all that for those kits in my newsletter. So if you would like to receive, and the other thing that's in my newsletter too, I do, other than like say Stampin' Up! Information and stuff that's going on, I also have a schedule of all the videos that I do for that month. So everything that I do for my Throwback Thursdays and my Friday Night Lives, I list all of the stamp sets or the bundles or the suites that I'm going to use in that video. So for next Thursday, let me get my thing. I am doing everything in advance, so it's hard to remember what I am using from one Thursday or Friday to the next. So next Thursday, I will be using the Dino Roar suite. That was the older suite that had the dinosaurs and the paper and the designer series paper. So I'll be using that. Now, originally I wanted to do the, what is it? The Darling Dinos, which is the new set that is in the new mini catalog, but I don't have that one, so it didn't work out, so I had to swap it with something else. But yeah, so I will be using the Dino Roar suite for next Thursday. And then tomorrow, uh, I'm going to be doing a Friday night Kinda Live. So my Kinda Lives are just basically they're pre-recorded like this is. And it will be posted, scheduled and posted at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I will be using the Wildly Flowering suite of products that is currently in our annual catalog. So if you would like to see that, just come back. It'll be posted tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And then the following Friday, on the last Friday, I will be using a new bundle that is in our online exclusives called Year of Flowers bundle. And so that's what I got. So right now, I will mention this. We do have a new annual catalog that will be going live in May. Right now, as demonstrators, we do have an opportunity to save a little money and have Stampin' Up! Mail the catalogs out for us. If you would like to receive one of those catalogs, if you are not working with another demonstrator and you live here in the US, in the description is my email. Just simply send me an email. Let me know that you would like the catalog. What would be better yet? Let me back that up. Let me back it up. Well, okay. I need to gather my words here. So, if you send me an email and let me know that you would like a catalog, what I'll do is, if you have not already done so, if you haven't created a profile in the Stampin' Up! Website, I would ask you, I'll give you the details on going out there to create one, just so simply your address and all that is out there. And then it's just very simple for me to go and choose you and then have the catalog sent to you. Unfortunately, the website has changed, so I'm not able to add anybody's information. I can't create a profile for you. You would have to do that yourself. But it makes it easier when it comes time to choosing the customers, to send a catalog out to. It's just a few clicks, and then I pay for them, and then Stampin' Up! Mails them directly to you from them. So the cost there is a huge savings if I have Stampin' Up! Mail it as opposed if I'm mailing it. And so that period in which the mailing selector is open is until March 31st. So on March 31st, near the end of the day, that is when I will place the order, because I only have one shot at going in there to do it. So so if it's before the 31st of March, let me know, and we'll get you added in my customer manager. And if it's after the fact, I'm more than happy to send a catalog again. Just simply send me um, your complete name, first and last name, and your mailing address. And again, if you're here in the US and you're not working with another demonstrator, because again, there is a cost not only for the catalog itself, but also with the shipping as well. So until my next video, everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful week. It's almost the weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Everyone, have a blessed one. Bye-bye.